everyone, and welcome to kind of an unusual video of mine. As you can see, here is a decapitated, naked monster high doll. Not exactly a speed paint. So, I've been watching a whole ton of doll repaint videos, and whenever I saw this mangled doll at a Goodwill, I knew what I had to do. So first things first, I drew up a little sketch in Photoshop. This was kind of based on the supplies I already had and were cheap to get, and it ended up changing in the end, but here's kind of the base plan. So to start off, I had to fix her neck. That resulted in me having to pry out the neck peg and super glue it all back together and hoping to God that we kept the function of the neck, you know, being able to move her head around. And it ended up not working in the end, but I'll show you guys how I fixed that. Then I went ahead and sanded down all the body seams. I see a lot of artists do this in their doll repaints, and I just thought I would give it a try. I don't think it made that big of a difference. Granted, I didn't really do that great of a job. Then I ended up pulling out all of her hair. Well, cutting it off first, then pulling it out. This took several hours. It looks like it didn't take very long based on the video footage, but trust me, it was a painstakingly long, you know, it just took forever, guys, you know, just had to put on a couple movies. Then I ended up cutting off her ears. This kind of pained me in a way because I love the Monster High dolls and their design to start off with, but the ears just didn't really fit with my whole backstory as this character is kind of an Egyptian goddess type thing. Then I ended up trying to remove all the factory paint with acetone. This did not exactly work out the way I wanted it to. As you can see, everything is just smudging. I don't know if it was my type of nail polish remover or what, but it didn't work as beautifully as it did in all the videos, and no matter what I tried, it looked like a bad Lady Gaga outfit, you know? So I ended up having to mix up a paint color that matched her skin tone, which was actually kind of difficult, which I didn't think it would be, but it's weird. Her skin is like this different warm color, and it's orangey, but it isn't like bright orange, and I guess I just didn't have the right paint color. But once I finally got a match, I just painted over everything, and we went on from there. It wasn't that terrible. Then I used some blue paint to cover in where her hair would go. I did this in case my rerouting wasn't as thick as I wanted it to be, and this would just kind of help, you know, it would help it if there were any spots showing, it wouldn't be too obvious. Yeah. So her hair is kind of this like ultramarine blue, and the reason it's ultramarine blue is because that's what I had. I had these pretty nice hair extensions, but since my hair is over 2 feet long, they're too short for me. That's kind of weird to be saying, but they're too short for my hair. I knew I would probably never use them, so they ended up going in my first doll remake, which was actually really fun. But it was kind of hard to do this. I see most people, they just go in, they plug in all the hairs, they do the hairline first, which you can see here. It looks hilarious. I was laughing the entire time. But I guess I got crappy needles, or I was just trying to plug too hard or what, but a lot of my needles ended up breaking during this process, and it was rough because it was kind of a DIY thing. But once I got all the hair in the head, I took some fabric glue I got from the dollar store and just started plugging it all in her head. Then realized I cut holes in her head with the ears, so her hair had a little bit of glue in it, but I fixed it later. So after I masked off the hair, I went ahead and sealed the face with some sealant. I didn't get to use Mr. Super Clear because it was very expensive, but I ended up using this Model Master spray, which is for like car models, like those little miniatures. And since I don't have pastels, I started off with makeup. I actually bought a contour palette that was way too dark for myself, so it worked perfect for Claudine. I am quite the pale person, so yeah, wasn't gonna use it, but it works perfect for her. And having these things stick was a little tricky, but I wasn't planning on going really intense anyways, so you know, not really a huge big deal. I then tried to use some watercolor pencils, and again, I don't know if my watercolor pencils just aren't that great, but they didn't work out too well. The only color that kind of worked was black, but I ended up going over with acrylic anyways. Since I was kind of a beginner, I kind of went with the sculpt that they already had, and it was actually pretty easy to follow those lines, and it actually ended up with a really nice eye shape that I probably would have picked if it was me just drawing on a faceless doll, I guess, which is what I'm doing, but you know. Here I'm painting in the irises. I kind of wish I did the whites of the eyes first. I don't know why I didn't think of that. But yeah, I went ahead and went in with that same blue acrylic paint that matches her hair. She looks a little creepy right now, and I realized that I had to add some gradients. I figured I could just go plain, but you know, it looked creepy, and I don't want a creepy doll. I just want a cool like art project looking thing. So I ended up getting like some more cyan colors and mixing that in too. And I ended up making her eyebrows the same color as her hair. I kind of debated it for a little bit, but you know. And I started off with the pencil, so there were already some scratch marks that made it look like hair once I went over with the acrylic paint. Doing the eyebrows wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. I just had to go really, really slow, and I'm actually using an eyeliner paintbrush because I didn't have anything that fine. Again, just with the plain blue paint, it looked very, very flat. And after watching some more videos of other people doing repaints, I noticed that they do subtle gradients. They're very, very, very subtle, but they do tremendous things for the doll's face because it makes it look a lot more lively, but also not as creepy. And honestly, this girl has freaking eyebrow goals, you know? But yeah, here you can see me adding in the cyan just at the bottom of the iris. And since even though it's such like a small little thing, I think it helped a lot. And I didn't really use cyan anywhere else in her except for like the arches of the eyebrows, as you can see here, and in the bottom of the iris. This was probably my favorite part of the face up. I mean, of course it's the favorite part of the face up. This is the face up part. But it was just really fun to actually get to do what most people focus on in their customizations. I then went in with a very neutral lip color just because I didn't want to add another color to the color palette. I just wanted it to look very natural. Then I went in with the pupils, which I did large pupils just to make it not look as creepy. And after trying to do the pupils, I went ahead and did the eyeliner. The eyeliner was already pretty dark with the pencil, but I just wanted to make it, you know, extra with the paint. And as you can see, I just have a little plastic piece off to the side to be my palette. I've actually seen a doll customizer named Hextian, and he uses the back of his thumbnail to have like his paint palette, which is really smart. After coloring in the whites of the eyes, I took a little hollow glitter from nail polish and used that for the eye shine, which I thought was really kind of cool. It's hard to see in some photos, but whenever the light hits it just right, I think it looks awesome. Then I went ahead and did a couple final coats of the sealant. You can see I have her kind of stuffed in a glass water bottle. But yeah, it was awkward. Then I actually got some fake eyelashes that I have had for a couple years from Halloween a couple years ago, and I glued those onto her face. I considered drawing them, but since those aren't really my strong suit, I wanted to give it a go with the fake eyelashes, which I think have a really nice look to them. Then, using some really shiny top coat, I went over the irises because I've seen several people do that, and also went over the lips, and it does add some more liveliness. Then I ended up going over with boiling hot water onto her hair to flatten it out. You guys didn't get to see all of that because it was such a pain in the butt to do, but yeah, after a couple of hours, I figured out exactly how I wanted to get it, and I started brushing out her hair. This was a couple months afterwards because her neck broke again, and yeah, it was rough, guys. You can see I actually wrapped thread around her neck to help glue it in place after the second time, and I ended up putting more thread elements in her outfit, but since this video is so long already, you can see her outfit in next week's video. So I hope you guys are happy with the look. I sure am, and I think I'm going to definitely be continuing doing doll repaints. I'm kind of looking at Draculaura's right now. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see y'all in the next one about her outfit. Bye guys.